My adolescent memories fade as lifelong games are overplayed. We cover up childhood thoughts and emotions as we stumble through our adult devotions to prosperity and the pursuit of love and other matters that we be dreaming of, to fill the time that's given us as we await the coming bus. If recollection served us well, there would be no reason for us to dwell on matters of our distant past. For life completes itself too fast. This tale for me lives in a cloud covered by a silken shroud of facts and objects that will decrease as times of senility will not cease. It takes away my sharpened mind. A false precision is what I find when I endeavor to tell an ancient tale and lose track of an essential detail about a matter of central import. For I am just the human sort.
It grows louder, this grinding sound, with teeth that I hear spinning round, devouring earth and casting off soil and coal and pieces of rock. What irony befalls us soon if it should find an adjacent room, that we may not with effort reach the bitter lesson it would teach. If they should then their efforts end, no added labors they would try to spend to open up this distant cave that it might then become our grave.
Then who might have the final laugh if they should drill a useless shaft? For our sake, I'll offer prayer that they not venture off somewhere and find a room unoccupied and conclude that at least they had tried.
Well, I hear it coming. I hear it loud and clear. At first it was so far away, but now it's drawing near. It sounds like music to me, like the dinner bells that ring, like the blues man on the sidewalk, like the Sunday choir that sings. It sounds like words of love, like you whisper in the night, and you hold each other tightly until the morning light. Salvation's on the way, it's coming here today, it's coming down the track, and we'll soon be headed back. Salvation's on the way, it's coming here today, it's coming for me and you, and I hear it breaking through.
Like joy, and I hear my mama's voice when she takes me to the candy store and I can have my choice. It sounds like springtime when the snows are finally gone and the birds are in the blue skies and the baseball games are on. It sounds like peace of mind, like a child's nighttime prayers. I hear it in my heartbeat, I hear it everywhere. Salvation's on the way, it's coming here today, it's coming down the track, and we'll soon be heading back. Salvation's on the way, it's coming here today, it's coming for me and you, and I hear it breaking through.
Glory be! I see it break on through. Get out of the way or it will drill you through. Then what the subtle irony that they might only rescue me. So move that you might be protected and maybe soon be resurrected. But hey, I see the turning ceases. And I see the last remaining pieces of powdered rock that had passed through fall in the space between me and you. When I see them, I will congratulate. But I wonder why we have had to wait while hunger and thirst our minds did waste, and gave our souls a bitter taste of visions we might hallucinate, much worse than I did anticipate.
Davey's brother Joe, above ground. Let us halt this mechanism fast. We've reached the hollow place at last, and quick to clear the shaft and bit and see what has become of it. A narrow opening through which to shout and see if there be men about. I see the hole is clear and free. Let us see if someone might answer me. Yo, who might be below us now? If you are there, then speak somehow. Shout out to me your quick reply and give it to it your fullest try.
I bid you welcome to our humble home. For days we have rested here alone, but now our rest is overdone. We send our love to everyone.
So, tell us who abides with thee. Be you one or two, or be you three? So I might tell the families near that they might end their deepest fear, that they might end their tears of sorrow and know the sun may rise tomorrow.
I am sad to say we are only two. This is the news I give to you. We know not of poor Louis's fate. 'Tis Hank and I below you wait, for he went left and we went right when the tunnels came down last Tuesday night.
Oh, at times we thought he'd made a sound, but now we fear that he's not around. His refuge may be far from here, or it's possible that he's near. I implore you to still drill for him, otherwise his prospects be grim.
And so in time it came to pass, as I see it through my looking glass, although the glass be smokier now, the vital facts remain somehow. The newsreels at the matinee spoke of it in a certain way. No more a struggle between spirit and stone. They left the particulars all alone while the afternoon bus went by, and left the masses wondering why a miracle should be ignored. They came up by a parachute cord through a hole that was drilled sufficient wide to fit a starving man inside. The first to rise was Hank, the younger, the one who nearly died of hunger, and lacking as well in food and drink, had the wherewithal to pause and think that a specter had made his presence known, and the right solution was rightly shown. It also gave the men some cheer whilst they were long imprisoned here. Davey came up second, they say, singing out loud the entire way. She'll be coming round the mountain when she comes, returning to the home he had fallen from. And when we rise in glory, into the light, into the air, where we will join our loving family, who are now waiting for us there. And we will know that we will rise again someday. In a wholly different way, we'll rise again. We will return in another time and place. In a wholly different space, we will return.
Just give me wings and give me courage for all the trials that lie ahead, and lift me up into the sunshine from this old grave, this cold, cold bed. We'll carry on until our final work is done, and the final race is run. We'll carry on. Our time is short, the clock is spinning round and round. We're no longer lost and found, we're going home. You'll be the first to leave the darkness. I'll stay right here.
stand upon. And as we rise, we say our last sincere goodbyes, with sadness in our eyes for things gone by, and what we see of other worlds that cannot be revealed to you and me. We still ask why, we still ask why, we still ask why, we still ask why.
Davey lived on another 27 years, a man of cleverness and constant cheer. And Hank lived on a little more till he finally walked through the open door. And all their lives it remained the same. They refused to play the skeptic's game. And the pledge to keep in secrecy the attending spirituality, the moment that the stars aligned, and the reason that their friends could find with precision and uncommon grace their small and distant hiding place, was soon revealed when they arose. This truth they pledged not to expose.
A psychiatrist speaks to Hank. So Davey and I just had a little chat. I'll be filing a report of what I make of that. It seems the two of you developed some ways of enduring great fear and getting through your days of uncommon terror and traumatic exposure. So tell me about it and we'll bring it to closure.
I've no one to deceive and nothing to hide, no falsehoods to weave about what happened inside. Our dark little space in the number 2 mind. My memory is clear, my recollections are fine. I would say that we were no more than 5 days below when a bright blue light appeared, did show. Neither of us, if it had seen by the other had seen the appellation. We looked at one another for mutual affirmation. I asked most sincerely, "Davey, do you see the light?" Well, he said that he had, for it had shone so bright it gave the whole chamber a fine illumination. For 2 ugly miners, it was a strange creation, for it formed the body of a Holy Spirit. And when it spoke, we could clearly hear it. It took the form of a priest, dressed in black, and showed us a pathway to find our way back. Through the power of belief, we found our relief from constant despair and the possibility of grief. I'm sorry now that I cast him aside and cursed the heavens and his message denied. But I think that he's with Louis now in a warming embrace, sharing a story with a smile on his face.
Well, Hank, I must tell you, I heard the same tale from Davey next door in every detail. From the time of the crash to the hospital bed, the very same account was patiently said. And from what I have seen, you both are quite sane. But it might be a problem for you to explain that a spirit came to see you and came to your aid. You'll be labeled as lunatics and madmen, I'm afraid.
Well, I have no fear of saying what's true. Every word is a fact, and we both have told to you. So go on and file your report if you must. But the priest, he was deserving of our love and our trust. He was short and stout and had a sizable nose. I called him the man in the priestly clothes. For heaven's sake, there's a picture in that frame of the sanctified fellow. He's the one and the same, gazing from the wall in this hospital bed with flowing robes and a hat on his head. How did that picture just suddenly appear, rendered to my eyes so perfect and clear? Please, tell me the man's identity so that I might know who he truthfully be.
Well, the man in the picture is John 23, who sat on the throne of the Holy See. It was only a few weeks ago that he died. How curious to learn he appeared by your side and gave you reason to hope to be saved from the cavern where the walls and the ceilings had caved.
When they were finally healed, there was a story to be told. So they spoke to the press while the cameras rolled. Questions born from speculation and rumor, they addressed them all in their characteristic humor.
I have a question. So how did you while away the hours of the day? No bars to visit, no cards to play. Were stories and things of importance related? Did you think about death? Did you pray while you waited?
No. As a matter of fact, we were joined by a friend who made this a happier time to spend. His manner was priestly, and he arrived with a glow. I have to admit, he was a good man to know.
I'll second my friend and back his story. Without this guy, we wouldn't have risen in glory. His robes were humble and his voice a blessing. A hallucination, I'm sure you are guessing, but if you've not done the things we have done, you've no right to ridicule or criticize anyone. I know the stories you'll go back and write, how a madman's vision appeared in the night, and tomorrow your papers will fly off the stands, but is there anything anybody ever understands about the fabric of the cosmos and the beings that travel from spirit to worldly, lest the universe unravel? I'm not a philosopher, scientist, or priest, but I would hope you would take our word at least.
By the 5th day of darkness and confinement, I was convinced that our friends had missed their assignment, and I sincerely wondered what had took them so long. How many holes did they drill that were wrong? And at that very moment, our companion appeared. I don't really care if you think that it's weird and if my words should now be turned to say my gratitude wasn't earned. I'll just go silent lest I be misunderstood, as though the truth might do you some good.
The world was shocked at what they had heard, that our heroes would speak an ungracious word, that both had reported a spectral presence, an otherworldly account of a spiritual essence. They would have done better to keep their mouths shut than to leave us all mystified and wondering what had happened to their minds and their sense of propriety. For now they had gone from heroism to notoriety. It was easy to conclude they both were insane, for untoward things can happen to the brain in such conditions as they had gone through. It would be the same for me or for you. An unfortunate turn of events, all in all, to speak poorly of those who had answered the call and labored without rest around the clock to bring them forth to freedom through impenetrable rock.
Here's another question. So what do you say to the critical kind, the folks who believe you were out of your mind, who give you support yet whisper their doubt? It was the work of the spirits that you found your way out.
I say what I mean, 'cause I know what I seen, and I seen it with my own 2 eyes. When he decided to appear, yes, my senses were clear, and my mind was not hypnotized. I'm not prone to seeing things that really aren't there, but tell me, why should you care to dispute my recollection of a spiritual connection? It's true, and I solemnly swear. Robes of black and a hat on his head, it seemed to be cocked to one side. A vision so bright that it gave us good light, for the love in that spirit us supplied. I know what I seen, not some kind of dream, not some kind of pain. of trick, not some kind of hoax, some kind of madness. When you're taken for dead, there are things that are said by those who have no way to know. If we could trade places to opposite spaces, and you could be far down below, could you tell me for sure what it takes to endure? Could you tell me what it means to be true? If I laughed in your face and called you a disgrace for the words I was hearing from you, you'd know what you'd seen. Not some kind of dream, not some kind of pain, not some kind of hope, not some kind of wish, not some kind of need, not some kind of trick, not some kind of hoax, or some kind of madness, not some kind of madness.
This is a special bulletin from NBC News. Your show in progress will be continued. There's nothing you will lose. We interrupt our normally scheduled program with an update from the mine. The rescued miners are recovering. We've learned they are fine. A TV camera we have sent below to examine the space so that we may know more about how the miners survived. It's an NBC exclusive. We're covering it live. In just a few seconds, the spotlight will burn, and in bold, living color, your audience will learn what coal mine captivity might really be like. Our viewers will see it, and our ratings will spike. The spotlight is on now, but the images are blurred. It's a tight little space, you can be assured. We see the tunnel now, packed with debris that prevented their exit when they attempted to flee. Oh, what's that over there, for great heaven's sake? It's the body of a man, the best I can make. You can see his shoulders in a dead man's slump, and his head and his limbs in a hideous lump. For sure, there is more we are seeing today. The authorities, I am sure, will call this foul play. We didn't get the whole story, it doth clearly appear. Could it be that murder was committed down here? This has been a special report from NBC News. We're the network to trust, the network you choose.
The headlines were bold and tall the next day. The world's imagination got carried away. Foul play, they screamed without reprieve. There's more to this story than we were led to believe. How could they not tell us that he died by their hand? For Mr. Louis Bova was an upstanding man. And what was the reason they took this man's life, who had a young child and a kind, loving wife? Davey, with his barbs and his humorous way, could he bring himself, such a good man, to slay? And Hank, with a manner so gentle and mild, could he kill a good friend with a 7-month child? There are stranger things than we've seen in our lives, than conclusions we reach when the evidence describes a bloody transgression unreported and concealed, and motives of so-called good men revealed that were not so pure and perfect, it seems. Such good-hearted heroes only live in our dreams.
Davey's brother Joe knocks at his door. Davey, come clean on each morbid detail, for soon the sheriff will be taking you to jail. A body was seen in your underground home. The case for your incarceration has grown, and for those of us above who toiled without rest to find you and extract you efficiently, lest death come to visit you and leave you buried, Aren't you glad we endured? Aren't you glad that we hurried? You've got the world believing something is rotten, be it the body of a minor or someone forgotten. We've seen the picture of poor Louis's demise and 2 rescued men with stars in their eyes. Though doctors of the mind have declared them both sane, in the end we know this thing must be explained. There are rumors going around that Louis was eaten so that your wretched hunger could be beaten, that the smallest among you was sacrificed. In darkness and depravity you both were enticed, both unawares you had crossed a dark line by speaking with Satan deep down in that mine. So I'm looking for a volunteer willing to descend and bring this sad mystery to an end. I need to know the truth one way or another. An eyewitness account will vindicate my brother or lead to his conviction of an unthinkable act. The truth of the matter will be established as fact.
Andy, the volunteer, speaks. I am the man you seek for this task. There is only one thing I feel I must ask, that my mission must be done in secrecy, that my wife and children not worry about me. A return to this cavern could bring my demise, for a father of 2 not considered so wise, to the press and the public, my identity unrevealed, till we know for certain what might be concealed in the tales of madness from Davey and Hank, be it spirits or visions or a body that stank, whilst they conversed with the demon who directed their deed. I'm the man for the job. I'm the one you need.
Unbeknownst to his family, by the very same rope, brave and determined to offer some hope of quick vindication or the proof of a crime, Andy was lowered just a bit at a time. At any moment, the ground might be shifted, and he would be crushed, unable to be lifted. It's a simple matter for a hole to be filled and a brave young father to be instantly killed. How agonizingly slow the events transpired. How an improvised phone was carefully wired. The chamber was reached, and his flashlight came on. Let's hear for ourselves how the narrative went on.
That's one small step for a man. Well, never mind. This is a different plan. I've not escaped the earthly bond and traveled off to worlds beyond, but rather gone down into our world so deep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. The chamber here is dark and tight. I see no evidence of a bright blue light to verify their fantasy. Nothing spiritual appears to me, but perhaps I'm not attuned to these things. I see no angels with flapping wings. I'll take my flashlight from my pack and search this place both front and back. And lest I find a man's remains or evidence that this room contains of commission of a grisly crime, let's hope it's not a waste of time. But lo, what in this light appear? The thing revealed that was not so clear. A concrete block is all it was. So like a man in shape, because this part resembles a human head in the shape of a man when he be dead, and torso-like with sprawling limb, I almost feel the suffering of him as he lie upon a bed of coal, while departs from him his eternal soul. But no, it's not a human form, a heart that once beat, nor flesh that was warm. It's just a pile of artificial rock, a human sculpture in a concrete block. So raise me up, and we'll all move on. May our misplaced suspicions now be gone. We've poorly judged our ragged friends, and so this chapter now rightly ends.
To Andy, we owe our gratitude for his brave, generous attitude. For the finest feast in all creation is the sweet, sweet taste of vindication.
Eat a little crow, 'cause we all know you are wrong all along. You were singing the wrong song. You were in the wrong show. Now eat a little crow. Now eat a little crow. Hold your head down. Don't look around. You're wearing that veil of shame. You were playing the wrong game, spreading the wrong word. Now eat that bird. Now eat that bird. When you received a little tasty information, you engaged in speculation, and you made insinuation that hurt my reputation. You went low. You went low. Take another bite of crow. Take another bite of crow. Cook it slow. Keep the oven low. Oh, wouldn't want to burn anything like a thigh or a wing. Or you can get it to go. A delicious crow. A delicious crow. If I were in your place, I'd put a mask upon my face and leave this town without a trace and hide away from my disgrace. No one would know. I ate a little crow. 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 I ate a little crow.
The media limelight thus subsides, and the miners live their quiet lives no longer in the public eye. They only sought to simplify and live each day quietly, with matters the way they ought to be. Hank returned to tending bar. He was sort of a movie star, telling tales from '63 with artifacts that all could see. And Davey kept his secret fast of his visits to the ancient past. In 1990, when Davey passed away, Hank came there with words to say, a sad goodbye to his beloved friend. To ease his suffering at the end, Hank asked that they might be alone as they had been when locked in stone. Davey's family gladly complied and waited for a while outside. In easy words, Hank spoke his peace that Davey's pain might gain release.
It seems we've been here once before, waiting by the open door. We could have easily walked on through if there were not the strength of you. Your humor and your steady mind and the confidence that they would find two filthy miners covered in dust. You always had my deepest trust.
So now that the curtain will be drawn, an awesome light be shone upon the path we all will someday tread, I know not what may lie ahead. Although my eyes are cloudy now, I feel I know this man somehow. Speak, that we might finally know thee. Have you come to set our spirits free?
When in captivity, you were gifted with the ability to rise and be lifted, transcending flesh and beating heart. You took a journey far apart, to destinations far and wide, and wisdom was to you applied. I had hoped that you would share the word, that the world might then be reassured that when we from our bodies separate, we assume a pure and simple state. As spirits with ability of free and timeless mobility, to cross the bridge between then and now and grasp the awesome why and how to humble folks. You then could teach how they might thus expand their reach, that humanity would then survive and longer strive to stay alive. This was the mission I imparted in the moments before you thus departed. Why have you then in silence dwelt with the winning hand that you were dealt, that you folded and then walked away from the game that you refused to play?
The soul is eternal. That's what I learned. In time, each one of us has returned to continue the work we had begun. The wheel doth turn for everyone. Our body is but a temporary home. The truth of this was clearly shown. For once, when I was journeying alone, I saw a creature upon a throne. His was the seat of judgment, I learned. He sends the souls off to be burned. I feared for my own eternal being. My thoughts and intentions set on fleeing. But instead, the story he would tell gave me an unobstructed view of hell. But what I saw of Satan's home remains a place for Satan alone. There are no souls who suffer there. Its rooms are empty and its chambers bare. How could I then attempt to speak? For the mind is feeble and the flesh is weak. And then would humans misbehave if there was nothing there? To save without the threat of consequence, in this I had no confidence. And so I chose to never share the lessons I had learned down there. Perhaps I have disappointed you for what I did and did not do. I am at peace with no remorse. In truth, it was my only course. Yes, I saw the light. You weren't the only one. You weren't the only one to see it shining. Came on big and bright. We had to close our eyes. We had to close our eyes, 'cause it was blinding. With darkness all about, the eyes can truly see what's really there, and set our spirits free. With the darkness all about, the mind can truly go beyond this mortal world and know what it must know. We might be leaving here tomorrow, and we'll bid this place goodbye. And they'll send us down a lifeline, and we'll rise up to the sky. And we'll rise up to the sky. Then I heard the sound coming through the ground, coming through the ground to take us home again.
And then I felt the air.
It was moving everywhere, moving everywhere, and we could breathe again. We might be leaving here tomorrow, and we'll bid this place goodbye. They'll send us down a lifeline, and we'll rise up to the sky, and we'll rise up to the sky.
Davey, please know that I forgive the way that you've chosen to live. In fact, you would not be believed. Your congregation would feel deceived by a promise that you could not keep. But now you enter a dream-filled sleep. So leave your tired body behind. Let us see what we may find. Davey, take now the hand I offer you. There's important work for you to do.
I'd love to go back. I'd love to go back to the days I'd seen in the comfort and convenience of my own time machine. And those who have passed would breathe once again. Only if I knew now what I knew then, the stories that molded and inspired this old man and created the world I still try to understand, I would form a fresh vision and render it thus while I sit on this bench and wait for my bus. To the peddlers of potions and the conjurers of spells, to the builders of the temples where the mystery dwells, I send out my plea from the old heart of me to go back to the places that can never again be.
To the shamans and wizards who built the machines so the roads can be traveled by the dreamers of dreams. It's a simple request that cannot be filled till the silence returns and the waters are stilled. Return me, return me. Return me, return me home.
For the singers of songs and composers of rhyme, for the weavers whose threads make the fabric of time, for the garments so warm that forever are warm, from the day that we breathe, from the day we are born.
For you know the reasons that we were made blind. You can put back the pieces that were scattered by time. You can bring back the living and give life to the dead. Make a habit of forgiving all the lies that were said. Return me, return me.
return me
And to the mothers and the fathers and the comforts of the home, to the food on the table when the children are grown. How hard were the lessons, how salty the tears, how heavy the weight in the passing of years. And when it's all over and the curtains are drawn and the lights are turned out and the whiskey is gone, will there still be someone to hold while I sleep, and prayers to be said, and memories to keep? Return me, return me, return me, return me. Return me, return me, return